topic, to give it its full designation this morning, will progressive security improve customer engagement?
Progressive security is increasing the strength of required security with the risk of the user's transaction. So it's software that increases the security requirement as the risk of what the user is trying to do goes up.
We have to ask ourselves, what is the problem we're trying to solve here? I think what Clayton's describing is just another example of perimeter-based defense.
Yes, we found that the consumer themselves, the individual themselves, there's a lot that they could be doing, the basics that I was saying, that people assume that people understand and that people actually do, that they aren't doing. And that if we were to increase that baseline of people who have secure passwords or actually have antivirus on their machines and devices, all devices, and basics like doing security, taking the updates when they're offered up for your apps and for your laptops and computers, that would knock out a lot of the most baseline fraud that happens to people.
Security is a process, and you're always playing cops and robbers. So as you think you've evolved your security and authentication procedures, there's something else which comes up which finds the lacuna in that process and tries and exploits it.
I completely agree, actually, that the increasing the height of the wall and the boundary is not going to solve the problem here. In fact, the perimeter is full of holes.
I think it's a race to the bottom if you think security is a competitive advantage. However, usability, which makes security unobtrusive, that can be a competitive advantage.
I think there's design pattern innovation. I think it's also, we work with the OEMs, right? We work with the Apples and the Samsungs of the world to help specify the design they're going to build for their devices and the types of technologies they're going to put in there and the benefit they might provide to the different industries whose customers use those. That's a whole other place for this to be, from a user experience, from a customer experience, from a service design experience, to be amplified. The ability to work with the manufacturers as they go through model development to come up with new capabilities like the fingerprint scan, better FaceTime recognition, voice recognition. There are a lot of things that you could do that create greater protection.
The more access you can provide in a secure way, but in a way that's unobtrusive, the more secure the system will be, right? So if the wall is high and the usability actually is quite poor, if I require a 10-digit password, well, those are the passwords that are going to get written down and placed on the monitor or under the keyboard.
We are making significant investments in progressive security. The phrase we use internally is multi-layered authentication. So for information you do something, let me get even more tactical, for say transfers to your own pays we do something, and for new pays you do something else. So a lot of investment going into it, a lot of thinking going into it, but heavily driven by the experience.
Yeah, I mean, also on a positive note, we started looking into how do we educate consumers and businesses around this topic a number of years ago, and all that I've seen as progression is the banking industry in particular has been extremely strong in supporting what we do with Cyber Streetwise. And the only thing is it's a bit piecemeal, and of course I'd like more investment, more support, more access to the channels that the banking industry has, but it's going in the right direction. We do have a lot of interest from this industry, and it's a good thing.
So I would say while there is investment, it's not happening fast enough. The cyber criminal is advancing in their attacks faster than the industry is keeping up with it. And we really need to figure out how to get ahead of the bad guys and not always trying to catch up from behind.
Can I thank again the founders of the Digital Banking Club Intelligent Environments for their continued support. They are a pleasure for us to work with. Can I thank each of the panel, Orna Joseph, Shashi Dirbat, Michael Soppett, Clayton Locke and Peter Neufeld. Thank you to all of you for your company this morning. The next Digital Banking Club debate is back here, as David Webber said, on Thursday, the 18th of June. Thank you and good morning.
if you look at it from a technology perspective, and my colleagues on the panel also corrected me when I defined it in terms of technology. So I think I agree with them, it goes beyond this, but from a technology perspective, it's software that increases the security requirement with the risk of the transaction. So software that has progressive security will be able to dial up or dial down the security required of the user based on its assessment of the risk of what the user is trying to do. And that would be software that has progressive security built into it.
You cannot have a one-size-fits-all approach to customer engagement or security. There is an inflection point that's been reached where progressive security is a topic which is very topical, it's very hot. And we have to dial back our attempt at trying to increase the perimeter defense and increase our focus on customer experiences and the whole usability question.
Yeah, for me, I think it illustrated that a lot of the thinking in the industry is still focused around the technology. There's still a perception that the security challenges can be solved with technology alone. For me, it's that security is part of a process. It's not a simple product or a point solution, and security needs to emanate in that process.
With progressive security, you're making a continuous assessment of the risk.
In real time.
In real time, if possible. And so, as the risk changes, your software has to be flexible enough to change its security posture. So it's not hard-coded into the software. Progressive security is a way to flex the security requirement based on the context that the user is operating in.
You know, biometrics is certainly helping improve the customer engagement by creating more frictionless customer experience when it comes to authentication. And ultimately, technology will play a major role in solving some of our security problems going forward. I think we should absolutely be optimistic. There's been some huge levels of spend in the industry in terms of making changes to digital banking and their approaches to security. I think perhaps from a consumer perspective, we're yet to see these filter through, but I'm sure over the next few years that will come through.
There was a lot of discussion around reputation risk to talking about fraud and about perimeter issues with security, and actually Cyber Streetwise provides a good umbrella brand for the banks to come together to talk to customers about some of these basics that they could take up, which would help with a lot of the security issues that they might face. I mean, it's completely understanding that there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of thinking that needs to be done about how these channels are used properly in this day and age. But at the same time, there's lots of ways in which customers and banks can help customers to be more safe.
The challenge is recognize the good guy, let them in seamlessly, really, really swiftly, and allow them to access their money, and find a way of identifying the guy who's not welcome and boot them out. That's really the challenge, and so it's a great topic, and thank you for having me.